only a little time.
With the bigger picture of what we're trying to do here is make a connection between the environment and getting health and physical activity as incidental outcomes. Then we might move down into weight, which is the water kind of connection, and which areas of streams or lakes or waterfront that we might have to travel past. And the next connection down from that is to whenua. And this whenua here, this is our surface. So Hine Tupare Maunga and Tāne coupled together, and from them was produced Tuamatua. And Tuamatua is the atua of all stones and rocks. From Tuamatua we get Rakohore, Makatiti and Rangahua. Now from Makatiti is where we get Hine Tuakirikiri. So that whakapapa line brings us down to understanding who Hine Tuakirikiri is. And if we're going to move across her, what that's going to mean as it gets steeper, as it gets wetter, as it changes in there. So it's a different philosophy for connecting to a place that we just look at a different way. If we have a look around us, this is interesting to me as well, that we talk a lot about whakapapa from a Māori perspective, but trees also do that as a selection process of where they'll live and who they'll live next to. And that at different altitudes and so on, it's a form of whakapapa in its own right, because they'll live in certain stratifications. I think that's the word, isn't it?
Yeah.
I was listening. So we have those, and we have different trees that will choose to live in different areas. Well, that's a system of hierarchy in its own right about who can exist in what place. Kauri, for example, or what they like to do is they're self-pruning. So they'll drop their own branches. And the reason they do that is to kill everything underneath themselves to provide food for their own growth. From a whakapapa perspective again, the interesting part about the whakarewa, or the rewa rather, is the seed head that comes off that one is connected to the origin of how waka was shaped. So you know the red seed head that comes off the rewa, big long one like that, that's got a curved end at either. That was the origin in some areas of why waka was shaped the way they were. There's a connection to that particular tree up there. Same with Tāwhiri Mātua, if we're ingesting more of him and requiring a need to connect more with Tāwhiri, that's an indication that we're starting to push ourselves along. And so the attracting of the energy or the presence of those atua to your form when you're under excessive load or extreme loads is an indication that you're working hard and that they can be valued rather than feared. We can connect up with those particular atua lines if we want to at like a personal level as you're coming up. I don't usually go down the personal level pathway and trying to get a higher level understanding of why things are happening. But as we're coming up, for example, and you'll probably notice it more on the way down, if your legs start to shake as you're going down, your knees are getting a bit tired, the muscle is a connection to tū mata uenga. The atua of humankind, the atua of war, and of extreme physical activity, tū is connected to that. And so tū contributed muscles. And from a non-Māori perspective or an Irish perspective perhaps, depending on which whakapapa line I choose here, when your legs start to shake we can see that as a bad thing, or we can see it as attracting the attention of tū mata uenga because we're doing something exceptional. And to revel in that kind of idea of, gee, I must be doing something kind of out there for my body because I'm starting to get the shakes. And so instead of fearing it, we start to look for it and to use that as an assessment tool of recognising when we're starting to get out towards our limitations. If we pollute this land, then it's not surprising that we'll accept violence towards women because we've started it by polluting this place, and that there's a flow down effect of what that means. So rather than us addressing it at a human level, he's wondering about whether it needs to be addressed at a macro level with the environment, and that will flow through.